Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. I'm just going to say calling all crypto traders, But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having us, FMAS team 2025. Also, thank you to TD Markets for sponsoring this event. And we are very excited to have a very informal discussion today. I think before I get into anything I do just have to disclaim that we are not giving any financial advice in this discussion whatsoever. This is just purely our own due diligence and our opinions, and we look forward to having this conversation with you. So let's get straight into it. Alex, I would love you to please just introduce yourself quickly. Tell the crowd what your background and what your experience is.
Sure. Firstly, thank you guys for all being here. We appreciate you being here, having a great time. Yes, my name's Alex. My expertise is more in the legal field. I was a corporate lawyer for around 2 years, liquidation of companies, corporate contracts, CCMA issues, but I honestly hated my life. So I looked into crypto back in 2016. That's when I first got into it. I have a Bitcoin tattoo, so if you know how committed I am, you now do, okay? So I'm very pro-crypto and pro-Bitcoin. I also have worked for Binance as well in their compliance department. So I was doing full-scale transaction monitoring, full wallet screening analysis, full political exposure on clients, making sure there weren't any sending of transactions to North Korea for sanctioned entities, to Russia, that kind of thing. And then I've now found myself with TD Markets as well as the likes of you. And in my personal capacity, I've also been trading, also been accumulating my own wealth with crypto as well. And I see it as a brand new gateway and a financial future for many people.
Yeah. So just to also give you a quick intro on myself, I was previously in Dubai for 3 years working in a digital asset management company. I've seen the opportunity in Africa specifically, and this is my reason for coming back. I really think that the market is prime here, and there's a lot of opportunity, especially within the crypto cycle. But I suppose let's just get straight into it. So starting with something. When most global investors are thinking about crypto in Africa, they think about it as an afterthought. And I think what we have to understand is that Africa isn't too late to the party. We're just arriving at the right time for us. Now, in the US, people speculate around meme coins, all based off Twitter hype. And in Africa, we see it as an avenue to avoid inflation and to move money cross-border and to allow access to dollars and to financial instruments where banks say no. And I think one thing which we just have to segregate is, Alex, are we seeing the African crypto market fit into this hype cycle, or are we seeing something different compared to the African market and the US market?
That's a very good question. I think, firstly, starting with the US, I think we're dealing with a much more mature market, firstly, primarily driven by your institutional clientele, like your BlackRocks, your Wisdom Trees, your Vanguard groups, your Fidelity, those kind of guys. You're obviously dealing with a much more favorable legislative environment now, with the Trump administration now pushing for the US to be the biggest crypto. They are now pushing for, Trump is now pushing for $2.5 billion into treasury management there. But it is more of a speculation tool for them. I mean, if they are thinking about from an African perspective, the most likely biggest question that comes up is remittances. And sure, that is a very big part of it. But I think right now, we are seeing, and we'll talk about this in this conversation, stable coins as well. It's always a conversation that comes up. But I think we are dealing with a larger utility use case in Africa that is at a grassroots level, not just from speculation. I mean, you're looking at the numbers. Let's just look at some numbers in some countries. We're looking at 300,000 people in Zambia, 400,000 in Angola, 400,000 in Mozambique. You know, you're dealing with Ghana, which has 3 million people, and with the KYC active crypto addresses, 13 million in South Africa. Are all these people just speculating? No, I think there's a genuine use case that there is.
So, just in summary of that point, I think what you're trying to say is that, you know, more in the US markets, it's a market for gain, where in Africa, it's more a market for survival, or a market for access.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, there is speculation, no doubt, but again, with the new businesses coming up, with the conversations we've been having with our sort of retail, like yesterday we had a very large retail potential clientele in that space, and your clientele at the moment, I think we are seeing a larger utility aspect than more just the trading aspect in and of itself.
Yeah, so, I mean, focusing on Africa specifically and the jurisdictions that we have, why do you think the legal framework that we have in South Africa is potentially better or worse than what the US is trying to institute? And how is the institute, like the US, leading the way for crypto regulation?
I mean, look, As you've said before, the world goes one direction, South Africa tends to go the next, right? So, I mean, like we said, the Trump administration is very pro-crypto compared to the Biden administration previously, where the SEC was cracking down on so many different crypto projects and tokens. They've now really opened the floodgates there to try and open a more inclusive environment. I think South Africa, we do tend to over-regulate more than innovate. And yes, I understand that that comes with a sense of financial security for the individual. That makes sense. But I think we should also be fostering an environment where we should take everyone's individual capacity to make those decisions in a sound and sober senses as crucial. If you want to get involved in something like this and you've made that decision and you are aware of the fact that your capital could decrease by 30-40% in a run, that's a decision you've chosen to make. But you've done that with the evidence and information provided to you, and that's the crucial element. That could spur on more legislative development, I feel.
And going into your evidence or knowledge-based approach, I suppose we have traders in the audience. So what are some of your tools that you utilize on a day-to-day basis to analyze markets? And are those tools different to in Africa as opposed to the US?
I mean, look, you're asking a fundamental trader about technical tools. Yeah? Look, everyone trades differently. I'd say from an on-chain sort of specification and tools there, I'd say data is power. The more data you have, the more information and more evidence you had to make a decision and be confident in your approach. I think my three go-tos are Nansen, Glassnode, and Sentiment. Personally.
Okay, let's build on Sentiment. So I don't know if many of you are aware, but Sentiment allows for not just on-chain metric data, but it also curates social behaviors in from looking at online, from Twitter, from Reddit, from Discord. It pulls in a lot of that data. But Alex, can you expand a little bit on those tools?
Absolutely. So, I mean, like you said, it takes in a lot of social evidence from X, from Twitter, from Reddit, from GitHub. So you can actually get a lot more information on what you're looking for. So you can look at who the developers are, what are their comments on their products at the moment. Will that lead into another cycle within meme coins, within utility, within AI? What is the current talking points on X and Twitter at this moment that can then lead you into a decision for your technical input from there? That's from a social aspect. Now, Nansen, speaking of them, they have a smart trader portal as well, which is incredibly valuable. So this portal allows you to access all the large-scale whales of
whale wallets,
institutional sort of wallets like your BlackRocks. You can see where flows are coming to and from in their different holdings. Large whale wallets as well. So you can really make a very educated, not I'll just say guess, but an educated, informative decision based on where those funds are currently moving to. Are they moving from just holding in stable coins and Bitcoin, or are they actually moving into a more volatile aspect for a potential altcoin run that we've seen in the past? That is now sort of, we've seen the bell curve of the halving of Bitcoin sort of dip down, so there could be a change in that. But I think having that evidence at hand gives you that drive and that confidence in the back of your mind to place the trades with your technical tools at hand.
So now that you've, I suppose, segregated the cycles, I just wanted to ask, from an African perspective, how do our downtrends, or how do they differ from the likes of the US?
Look, I think it'll be different this time because we're on such an evolving space, right? I learn something new every single day. I personally hope I am the stupidest person in this room, so I can learn more, to be quite honest with you. I think based on the utility aspect we've already spoken about before, in the bear market, when it does come, as we know it does come, will that die down? No, I don't think so. I think we are seeing established businesses coming up. We are seeing more and more traditional players come into the space and see that, listen, staying out of crypto entirely is far more risky for your business than engaging with it cautiously.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key element to take away on this as well.
I suppose something to build on that, just from my perspective, I can identify three pillars of trust within society. You have community, government, and business. And how do we get adoption across the whole ecosystem? We clearly can't trust two of those pillars. Community and government, I think at the end of the day, there's limitations. But when it comes to businesses, especially in South Africa, we have the framework available now to let the retail investor and the retail client feel comfortable. And that's why working with the likes of Valor and the other large centralized exchanges in South Africa, we can slowly integrate crypto interoperability and business practices into traditional companies, and that will filter down. But I suppose last thing I just wanted to touch on is, where do you see the gap in the next 5 years? Where does Africa sit in terms of the global crypto ecosystem in the next 5 years?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the data from Chainalysis from 23 to 24, Africa only amounts to 2.7% of the entire crypto global flow. And that's not much in the grand scheme of things, but that's $150 billion, of which 43% are stable coins. That's almost $50 billion worth. Do we see that growing over the next couple of years? Absolutely, we do.
Stable coins.
Yeah, stable coins again. Again, this discussion, every time we go to an event, half our conversations are stable coins. So I think that'll continue to be a key development. I think real-world asset tokenization could also be a very big talking point, as we discussed previously. And I actually wanted to get your take on this from a sort of a Dubai perspective, because we've seen Dubai now. They are looking to take a crypto to take traditional markets and have them on secondary markets now with a crypto token real-world asset tokenization project. Perhaps that could fulfill in the African market. You could go to your mines, your agriculture experts, and tokenize those assets before and get that surety and provide liquidity in a faster, more reliable setup than the current methods allow. I'd like to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it goes back to legislation. Dubai and Vara have far more interoperability. They're far more friendly towards working with projects of this nature, but also giving them the traditional banking and means of transacting, but also allowing access to the everyday person. I think bringing us into an Africa perspective, because that's obviously what we're concentrating on, I think real-world asset tokenization and fractionalization of real-world projects allows for application to happen. And I think that in this country specifically, anybody can get access to these things. And I think using real-world asset tokenization principles and fractionalization of those products or services gives everybody exposure to it and allows bankability, allows freedom of choice within that market. So I think just to finish off on one thing that I have to say around stablecoins is I don't think that we're going to see a downtrend really in the African market. I think we're actually going to continue to see an uptrend, but with the utilization of stablecoins for cross-border remittance. But more specifically, I think more and more people are getting over this hurdle that crypto is a scam and that they can't use it. And that's why I said we have to get this trust built up through businesses.
Touching on that, the whole crypto is a scam thing. How much scams happen with pure cash? How much money laundering happens with pure cash? But they don't touch on that conveniently, right?
I mean, it's an economics of scale thing. Traditional financial crimes outweigh crypto crimes. I mean, it's like 15x, but we have to look at the size of the market. The size of the traditional banking market allows for more scams to happen, but people also need to realize in the crypto space, it's not the crypto that's scamming you or the blockchain that's scamming you. It's people who are impersonating to give you some kind of means, and that's where the scam happens.
They're basically bad actors in every space.
Exactly. But I see that we have a couple minutes left, so I just wanted to open the floor. As you can see, me and my friend here, we've just had a very friendly discussion. We're just trying to invite you to also ask friendly questions, and then, just see if we can provide a little bit of assistance. Matt, go for it, buddy.
How's it? You were talking about stable coins. What's your take on XRP and them partnering up with a few stable coins?
I think let's just go back to the fundamental of what a stable coin is. It's fixed at 1-to-1, and it gives you assurance on the blockchain that your transaction is going to be fast, that you have no volatility within it. And at the end of the day, XRP it will have buy and sell demand pressure. And I think that correlation could be interesting looking into the future as to how XRP is growing. But I would segregate stablecoins and XRP. I think XRP is a fantastic system, but let's just stick to the true intrinsic principles of stablecoins. Do you have a take?
No, I think you touched on it quite perfectly.
Hi, thanks guys. It's Blake here from Valor. Excited to see what you guys are cooking up, and just wanted to see what your thoughts are about this mix between CFD trading, other instruments, and crypto, which is sort of where you're going, and how do you think that's going to develop?
I'm so excited for cross-pollination. It's coming. I think once we, get the exchange up and running and actually crash run and make sure that everything's working on that side, it's within the roadmap to actually, combine and see where that cross-pollination can happen. But even just from a client perspective, even right now, what we can offer is full cross-border remittance. People can also hedge their positions within the CFD desk. And now hopefully with the exchange launching, they can also hedge their positions on there. So I think we are in a unique position where we have not only the liquidity available, but we have the global partners to institute this kind of business at a far accelerated scale because of the existing infrastructure which we have in the CFD and the Forex side of things. So I really look forward to seeing how that's going to grow and how it's going to merge at one point. But obviously from the exchange perspective, we just need to get that going as soon as possible.
Just to touch on that as well. Sorry, sir, before you ask your question. I think you brought on the issue of derivatives as well. I think having the backing of an FX desk primarily over the last 10 years gives that surety to even your institutional clientele. If we're offering a derivative product to them, if we're offering a wrapped crypto option with no direct exposure, but we could offer some sort of custody or yield generation, I think that ties in that quite nicely as well.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Blake.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just interested. Basic questions.
Yeah.
Basic question around market cycles and trends around
Sorry, so we can't hear you too well.
volume trading and the crossover to pricing. And what do you expect to see? Because I see volume trading being
So
down.
I'm going to be very honest, and I cannot hear
Really?
you.
Okay. Sorry. I'll keep it straight. So I would start the question again, market cycles and trends. So I'm interested to hear the crossover between trading volume and pricing and the trends around that, because I do see trading volume to be down quite a bit. And what do you expect to see in that, in the trends in changing?
So I think we're looking at trend versus cycle in Africa specifically. Volume has greatly increased. As Alex mentioned, just 23 to 24, there was about $50 billion in terms of OTC, or not OTC, excuse me, but remittance using stablecoins. We've seen that trading volume increase to 2024 to being $125 billion. It's a 125% increase in just 1 year.
Okay, so the focus is more specifically on stable coins.
Stable coins, but if we want to go into BTC, I think we just have to look at the inflows of what ETFs have brought to the table. I mean, just to date, I mean, that ETF sits at about 4 billion now in terms of total market capitalization. So there's huge volumes flowing into it. But I think it's a slow approach now because of the institutions coming on board. They have bureaucracy, decision-making times. They have a lot more structures and processes in place. And I think we will see this volume increase. And especially we'll see a greater volume increase in times of bear market cycles.
Okay, interesting. No, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, beginner trader, just started trading this year. Very simple question, what is a remittance?
Okay.
It's a good question. No, you should know. Brandon, go for it. Are you starting off?
Just payments. Payments, but more specifically cross-border payments. That's remittance. Yeah.
Okay, thank you
So
so
if
much.
you had a person in Uganda that traveled to America for a job, they want to send money back to their family. How much does that cost them and how much does their family receive comparatively from a fiat gateway we have now comparative to a stable transaction? That fee is like 60% reduced. For a family living on, not much I can't give you the average earning income of Africa, right? But that is a massive, massive win for that family.
And just a win in terms of being able to hedge your inflation that you're experiencing in your country. Just having access to purchase a stablecoin like you can buy USDT and you have an effective hedge right there. You have the ability to be free and fluid and have financial independence and financial sovereignty as opposed to traditional means. And it's super convoluted. It's super expensive. And as a part of the SDG requirements, which we are set to achieve by 2030, we have to get cross-border transactions and remittances below 5%. I mean, currently they could sit anywhere between 8 and 12%.
Okay, so what I got from that is that you're paying less to transfer money.
And so much faster.
And so much faster.
So much
With less bureaucracy, with less nonsense and red tape and everything else.
More speed, less money,
Exactly.
or less payments.
I think we have time for one more question. So if somebody's got one more question.
Okay, thank you. Do you offer educational resources for new investors?
Yes, sir. So with the TME Academy that we are launching, it will give traders the ability to not only understand the fundamentals of blockchain technology first, because I think it's important even from a trading perspective to understand the fundamentals of how it works. Why is this thing called blockchain taken over the world in the past 16 years? And I think it starts with that. And then it builds on, obviously, to your technical analysis and as some of the metrics that Alex was talking about, where you can get your knowledge set from. And we are launching some very interesting products within the exchange for the likes of copy trading as well. A lot of people don't have the time to actively watch over the markets, but at least having that ability to learn from a master trader will also allow you to build your understanding of the markets as a whole. So I hope that answers your question as well, sir.
Okay, do you do webinars and...
Yeah, beginners right the way through to advanced. Yeah.
All right, guys, we have 2 seconds left, so I think that's kind of it today.
And time.
But you're welcome to catch us afterwards at TDME Exchange over there. We're
Yes.
welcome to chat to you. Have a wonderful
Please
day.
come for
further,
a
guys.
chat. We are friendly guys and we just want to have a talk.
Bitcoin forever. Woo!